Arguably the most important Allied seaplane of World War II was the PBY Catalina, used for patrolling large stretches of ocean, search and rescue, and anti-submarine warfare, among other missions. The Catalina was developed to meet the U.S. Navy's need for a long-range bomber that was a flying boat and thus could take advantage of the wide expanse of the Pacific Ocean. They were given the designation PBY, with PB standing for Patrol Bomber and Y being the U.S. Navy designation for their manufacturer, Consolidated Aircraft. The seaplane was given the name of Catalina after Santa Catalina Island in California. All variants of the PBY were flying boats, meaning that they could only take off and land on water, through the PBY-5. The PBY-5A was the first variant to contain landing gear, allowing it to utilize runways. It was also the most produced version, with 803 manufactured. It had a wingspan of 104 feet and usually carried a crew of 8. The Catalina was quite slow, with a cruising speed of 125 miles per hour and a maximum of 196. It was armed with 3 .30 caliber and 2 .50 caliber machine guns, along with up to 4,000 pounds of bombs or depth charges. The aircraft had 2 engines located on a parasol wing mounted above the fuselage. Approximately 3,308 Catalinas were produced between 1937 and 1945 and used by American and Allied military units during World War II, including the Royal Air Force, Royal Canadian Air Force, Royal Australian Air Force, and Royal New Zealand Air Force. They were used all across the world in various climates, from the Aleutian Islands of Alaska to the Indian Ocean. Despite its slow speed, the Catalina had a terrific operational range of around 2,500 miles and substantial amounts of versatility given its ability to land on water. One combat role where this came into play was with air-to-sea rescue. A significant mission of this type occurred on February 15, 1944, in the vicinity of New Ireland Island near Papua New Guinea. Lieutenant J.G. Nathan Gordon was piloting his PBY and conducting rescue efforts in support of a larger U.S. air attack. Gordon made 4 different landings under heavy fire to pick up aircrew who had been shot down and stranded in the ocean. He managed to fly his very overloaded airplane with 15 rescued aircrew back to base without incident. Gordon was awarded the Medal of Honor for his efforts, the only one given out during the war for a mission with a PBY. The Catalina's excellent range and crew visibility also made it into a highly effective aircraft for patrol purposes. One notable successful mission of this type came on May 26, 1941, when a PBY piloted by the Royal Air Force sighted the powerful German battleship Bismarck while it was attempting to rejoin other German Navy forces, leading to it eventually being hunted down and sunk by the Royal Navy. Another important sighting by an Allied Catalina came on April 4, 1942. Japanese forces had enjoyed sweeping success throughout the Pacific and were moving towards Ceylon, now called Sri Lanka, in the Indian Ocean in order to gain control of that region. A PBY flown by the Royal Canadian Air Force sighted the approaching Japanese fleet, ending its element of surprise and preventing it from capturing the island. Finally, PBY Catalinas spotted the Japanese fleet approaching Midway Island early on the morning of June 4, 1942, beginning the Battle of Midway. Another operational role of PBYs was in American night attacks against Japanese shipping. Such squadrons of them were painted black and referred to as the Black Cats. During their operation from late 1942 through early 1945, they conducted low-level bombing, strafing, and torpedo attacks against both supply ships and warships, in addition to the more common PBY combat roles of reconnaissance and search and rescue patrols. Due to some of the advantages previously mentioned, Catalinas were the most commonly used aircraft for anti-submarine warfare in both the Atlantic and Pacific theaters of the war, destroying over 25 Axis submarines during the course of it. One notable anti-sub action took place on July 17, 1944, when Royal Air Force officer John Cruikshank attacked the German submarine U-361, receiving heavy anti-aircraft fire from it. Despite being seriously wounded, he engaged in another attack run and sank the submarine. He was awarded the Victoria Cross, the most prestigious honor in the British military, for his actions. PBYs were also used for a number of commercial roles, including long-distance passenger flights, throughout the middle of the century. Additionally, amphibious variants of the PBY continued to be operated by the U.S. military into the 1950s. Smaller nations used them in military roles until the late 1960s. Finally, Catalinas still serve around the world in limited numbers for aerial firefighting operations. The Catalina may still have another major chapter of its life left. In 2023, Catalina Aircraft announced that they will begin production of 2 different variants of the aircraft by the end of the decade.